Mr. Kennedy, I appreciate your time. So you're Jeff Zeleny going through the role that Jill Stein played when you just look at the vote tallies in the state of Wisconsin. Only need 2,000 votes to get on the ballot in the state of Wisconsin. So what do you say to Democrats who point to Jill Stein and say, that's going to be you?
I mean, what I would say is you have both sides using scare tactics. Republicans say that if Joe Biden gets in, it's going to be the end of the republic. Democrats say if Donald Trump gets in, it's going to be the end of democracy. And I don't think either of them are actually going to destroy democracy. We have institutions in this country that are pretty enduring. And if you look at both those candidates, they're very different in their temperament. They're very different in their ideology, and in their rhetoric. But on the issues where they actually depart from each other, it's a very narrow band of issues, and it's the culture war issues like abortion, guns, the border, and they're all important issues, but they're not existential issues. On the existential issues, neither of them has the capacity to address them, the biggest one being the debt. We now have $34 trillion in debt. The service on that debt is more than our military spending. So, and within 5 years, 50 cents out of every dollar collected in taxes are going to go to servicing the debt. And who ran up that debt? It was President Trump and President Biden together in just 4 years each. They ran up more spending than all the previous presidents going back to George Washington combined. The chronic disease epidemic. When my uncle was president, 6% of Americans had chronic disease. Today, 60% do. It's the biggest issue we have. $4.3 trillion that we're spending on that. And it's 4 times, almost 5 times our military budget. And it's getting worse and worse. You've never heard President Trump talk about it, never heard President Biden. The polarization in our country, again, existential. All of these issues, AI, and neither of them has the capacity to deal with these. And all of those issues are created by a system of corporate capture, this corrupt merger between state and corporate power that has absolutely subverted and undermined our democracy. And neither President Trump or President Biden has the capacity to address it because they're part of that system. They're both being financed by BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard, the military contractors, the pharmaceutical industries, and that system just spits out bad policies. And the illusion that if you differ on culture war issues, it means you're radically different. But the real issue, things that we need to do to save our country, they can't do them. And if you vote for President Trump or President Biden, they both had their chance. You're going to get more of the same. If somebody actually wants change, wants to actually alter those issues, they're going to vote for me.
And how can you say that your campaign is not taking more from Biden?
What my observation is of the Quinnipiac poll, the Harvard-Harris poll, the Gallup poll, the New York Times, Siena poll, all the leading national polls at this point in history as of today show me polling like maybe 2 more points from President Trump than I am from President Biden. So mainly what they're showing, and the Politico did a big article on this, is my supporters are people who aren't going to vote at all. Largely, and my donors are people who had given up on the American political process and are re-engaging because they feel that they don't want to choose between the lesser of 2 evils. They want to choose a candidate who is going to inspire them, who's going to give them hope, who has a vision for the future, and who has the vigor and energy to actually change this country. And that, I want to engage those people in the political process.